Jim Depriest, I think many of you out there will agree with me that he is the patriarch of Sonoma County's theater, an actor, a director, a dramaturg in every sense of the word, an amazing individual. It's a real pleasure to have you on the show, sir.
Oh, thank you.
I've been a big fan. Back in the day, I was a reviewer, a critic,
yes.
briefly for the Bohemian,
yes.
and I saw a lot of your work and was always impressed. And so it's great to kind of revisit some of those times with you and talk about.
Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here.
Yeah. What was it about theater back in the day? What attracted you? What was your first sort of foray into that world?
Well, I was from Nevada, from Sparks, Nevada.
You say Nevada, not Nevada.
Nevada. And they had a community theater there, and that new playwright, Edward Albee, came out about that time. And so I got a copy of his play, and I just thought that was great. And they have a basement down there that we changed into a performance area.
Was it
Who's
Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
Yeah. And so I didn't know how to get the rights to things, so I called him.
Nice.
And chat on the phone, and I said, "Is it okay if we do your play?" The title of which escapes me. And he said, "Sure, go ahead."
Was it Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
Huh?
Was it Zoo Story? Or?
It was before that.
Okay.
It was Zoo Story.
Okay, great.
And I said, "Okay, I'll go into rehearsal and let you know." So I called him once the show was up and all that, hoping he might come. But he was pretty much unknown at that time.
Yeah.
As was I. And but it was a great experience to do that, and that got me very interested in not only working in the theater, because I was an actor in the theater at that time anyway, but directing.
Yeah.
And getting much more involved, everywhere from set decorating to everything in between. And that's what I've been doing my whole life, and I'm an old guy now.
I mean, that's extraordinary to have a passion like that actually shapes your career and your life and all
Yeah.
that. Very rare, I think, and harder to do these days than anything.
I imagine it is.
Yeah. Why theater, though, and not like film? I know you did industrials, and I know you traveled with a company for a while.
Yeah.
But
I just was always more interested in, when I was working at South Coast Repertory in Los Angeles, Orange County actually.
Yeah.
We had the chance to do some film work, and of course Hollywood's right there, so I did a hell of a lot of commercials.
Right.
And I found that to be much better for me because you can make some money.
Yeah, right.
And I did a couple of films, just walk-on stuff and all that, but nothing to write home about, as we were so involved all the time, especially in the early years at South Coast Repertory now, which is a multi-million-dollar theater in Orange County. And it was a great process in building that from a small theater in Newport Beach of 90 seats and going to what it is today. That was a very exciting period in my life.
And you've since, of course, developed and started other theaters. I mean, what brought you to Sonoma County, where you really, your footprints are everywhere?
Well, I was teaching college in Southern California, and my wife, I was married at the time, my wife and I decided to move up here. We'd been up on vacations up in this area, so we moved. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, I couldn't stay away from theater, so I opened one in Sebastopol.
And that would be Main Street.
Main Street.
Yeah.
I opened one in downtown Santa Rosa.
Yeah.
The Arena Theater, which was really a lovely place. That only lasted about 5 or 6 years, because Santa Rosa is a town where come 5 o'clock in the evening, most folk leave.
Right.
They live in the suburbs or whatever, and you could throw a grenade down Fifth Avenue and not hit
right.
Fifth Street, and not hit a soul
yeah.
after 5 o'clock at night. So
that's a tip to you grenade throwers, to do it safely.
Yeah, do it safely. But that was a very exciting time, because we were operating 2 theaters at that time.
I remember that. I remember.
And then we had real bad, if you remember, it was connected to a nightclub. Mm-hmm. And there's a wall between that, and we tried everything in the world to keep the sound out when I couldn't do it. So I finally made the decision, together with the guy that owned the building, we just can't do this. We're right in the middle of a show, and music comes on.
Right.
God love you for liking music. I love music too, but not the two of them at the same time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I saw some of your shows at Main. Oh, I saw a lot of your shows actually in both theaters, but there was one at Main Street that I just blew my mind, and that was the Championship Season.
Champ Season.
Yeah, which you directed and also starred in.
I didn't direct it, but I
okay.
did play the lead role in that show, which is,
Coach, yeah.
I love that play. At South Coast Repertory, we did it some years before that. And a guy by the name of Herb Volan, wonderful television actor, he played the general on MASH. He was always trying to get the blonde gal, whatever her name is.
Houlihan, yeah.
But he did it with us. And it was just a great treat. In fact, at our first rehearsal, we were doing the blocking stuff, and he says, all right, okay, it's time. And so the other 4 or 5 actors were looking around, what? He reaches under the table and pulls out a bottle of scotch. And we said, well, what's that for? He says, we do this after every rehearsal. Nice. Oh, okay. And so we did that. But it was a great experience working with him, and he was a wonderful actor.
When you're directing a show, you're part of the casting, obviously. What do you look for in an actor? Is there a specific quality that helps you determine whether you can work with them?
Yeah, well, I've been doing it for so long. Many of the actors I've worked with before.
Yeah.
So I have an idea of matching that person, that actor, to the role. And we've been fairly successful in doing that over the last number of years, because I think I know pretty much all the major actors in the county.
I'd say so, yeah.
Most of whom I've done shows with sometime or other. I've been here a long time. And so it makes casting relatively easy. Once I lay out a season, I know if there's an actor 3 or whatever it is, I know that I'm going to have to I'd like to use him in play 6, and I better talk to him really early because it's a popular actor and this person's going to be working a lot.
Let's come back to these sort of creative processes after our break here with Jim Depriest, local theater maven here in Sonoma County.
Welcome to Understood.org, a free online resource for parents of kids with learning and attention issues, with personalized recommendations, tools, and daily access to experts to help your child thrive. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Hey,
Look at Mommy.
maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today.
They say that when you're facing extreme danger, your life flashes before you. If you think that's sad, consider facing it before you even have enough life to flash before your eyes. Deaths and injuries can be prevented by using the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to know what is appropriate for each age and size.
We're with Jim Depriest, our local theatrical patriarch, a man of many talents who's established much of the climate of Sonoma County's theater scene, going back many years and going forward many years. We were talking about the creative process you use when you're casting a show and the fact that you've got this sort of index of actors that you've worked with, so you know what they can do and how they can do it and plug them in.
I came from the repertory idea, the repertory theaters, so that you use the same, which is what I developed at South Coast Repertory, using that same group of actors to do your season. Then you can always bring guests in, a role you can't cast within your membership, if you will.
Yeah.
And I like that kind of philosophy. You get to work with the same people quite often. It leads to certain kinds of tension, but that's fine.
Yeah.
That's a creative process, and it's one I really enjoy. I love that repertory idea.
And it creates sort of a family of actors, like a company.
It does.
Literally, a company, yeah. And so recently, within a few years ago, you were instrumental in establishing the theater in Cloverdale, right? The new theater.
Yes.
I had the positive experience of visiting you there.
Yes.
I just happened to stroll in, and you gave me this amazing tour. It's a great facility. Let's talk about what it takes to start a theater from zero to full house.
Well, our board of directors found the site. We had another site chosen, but we finally ended up with that one, which is right on the major boulevard, and it's just wonderful. So I worked with the architect, and we're trying to figure out what we want, and we decided to do a 99-seat theater. That way you can use equity actors.
Right.
And have it like our lobby and everything else about it, our dressing room, the restrooms, and everything, have those first class.
Yeah.
And the architect totally agreed with me, and the builder, the guy in charge of building the whole thing out, agreed also. And we got, as a matter of fact, we have a couple of chandeliers in there, which were done by a couple of folks that have that kind of company there in Cloverdale. And I told them what, they came in and looked and said, we need a wow factor in this in this lobby when you walk in. And they're very creative people.
Yeah.
They're internationally known. And I said, oh, that sounds good. And so we did the chandeliers. They created those chandeliers that we have in there, which look gold when you turn it on. And
it's pretty remarkable, and it's interesting seeing the range of venues you've created. Like Cloverdale, of course, is the flagship, amazing venue, and then you come to a smaller theater like Main Street, which is a whole different set of circumstances.
Yeah,
you know, it's a smaller, it's literally smaller. It's
very small.
Yeah. How did you find that space, and what compelled you to think that you could actually make a theater work in such a?
Well, I was in Sebastopol, and I rather liked that place. I kind of like the politics. I kind of like strolling around down there and the Apple Festival and all the things that they do. And I met the gentleman that had the pharmacy, was where that building is. And I got to talking to him one day, and he was getting a little old and he wanted to retire. And I said, well, can I rent the building from you? And he said, yeah. And one thing led to another. He moved his stuff out, and then we'd go down and have breakfast every week, see him, and we converted a very, very small space into a very workable theater. Yeah. Then there was an upstairs, so we had an office up there and also dressing rooms.
Yeah.
So that worked quite well for such a small space.
No, it's very intimate and cozy, but it really was a great space. You know?
Yeah. I liked it a lot.
Is establishing these theater companies, besides being a personal creative mission, is this part of your legacy to Sonoma County? Like,
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. Theater is the largest part of my life, and if I can leave a footprint or something, get us to the place where other people are going to follow that when I go away and retire in Cuba, that would be very flattering. I'd like that.
Yeah, I think that will very much be the case.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Humboldt Street and the theater you started there, that process.
Yeah.
Right. Who did you do that with? How did you work that out?
The owner of the building. In fact, they had a restaurant in front there, and music and all that kind of stuff. And I thought it would be great to have a theater in downtown Santa Rosa. And I talked to the city council, and I can't remember her name. Doggone it, she's a senator now too, but whomever.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about bringing something like that to downtown Santa Rosa. So we did. And it was funded by the man who owned the building. And we were there for, I think, 5 or 6 years. And it was a great venue.
So
I loved it.
That would be John Robbins.
John.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
apart from the nightclub.
yeah, apart from the nightclub.
But
well,
it seemed you guys did a little more experimental stuff there.
Yes, we did.
More original works. It was because it was theater. It was a theater in the round. Is that
it
what it's
was a
called?
theater in the round, and we found after a while that ultimately we'd have to block off one of them to do sets and things like that. But we did it in the round for a good reason. When you can simplify it, challenges the artist to come up with a set that can work in that,
right,
but still be effective. And it was challenging, but it was really terrific. I loved the place.
Yeah, and it's interesting having a 360 view of the performers.
Yeah.
You know, there is no back to the audience. Well, there's.
Yeah. There's no stage left, stage right.
Yeah.
You do it off the northwest, northeast, southwest.
Do you feel like you have a responsibility to break new works like that in that kind of context, or
to do what?
Bring new works to the stage?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's where I met John, as a matter of fact.
John Moran, our producer,
John Moran,
playwright, right?
Who's a wonderful guy. Don't tell him I said so.
I don't believe you.
He's a wonderful guy and a longtime friend. And we got together, and he did his a play or two there. One of them I was in, and it's been a good relationship ever since.
Yeah.
He's a very good playwright, very imaginative guy, and boy, anytime he'd have something new, I'd love to look at it and see if we could do it.
Yeah. And I believe it was you who cast him in his big role of Salieri.
Amadeus.
Yeah. We should come
One of
back.
my greatest plays.
That was I saw that and I loved it. Let's come back to that after our break here. We're with Jim Depriest, the patriarch of Sonoma County's theater scene.
Ma.
In your new role, we help you help. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who once took care of you.
We're with Jim Depriest, the grandsire of Sonoma County's theatrical scene. And before we broke, we were talking about a play you directed, Peter Shaffer's Amadeus, which starred in not the titular role, but the lead role of
yes.
John Moran as Salieri.
One of my favorite plays.
That was a stellar production, and I had the great experience of having seen it, and I believe I got to write about it, and I really enjoyed it. And what was it about, not to get too into John, our producer, but what was it about that work that drew you into wanting to bring it to your stage?
It was just the nature of the play, the style in which it was written, the things that we could translate onto the stage the playwright put down in writing. And it is so moving, and the characters are so important.
Yeah,
and
it's Antonio Salieri and Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
Yeah, and that
sort of a tete-a-tete.
That conflict between them, if you will, that conflict between them, which is very exciting stuff. Plus, it has a lot of humor in the play.
Yeah,
a lot of humor.
How is it you cast John? I am curious. Did you just know that he was right, or did you?
You know, it's been so long. I think he fell on his knees and begged me to let him do it. Don't quote me on that, but he's a perfect guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just a wonderful guy, and we were had worked on some other projects, and I asked him if he'd do the role, and he felt like I did. That it's a very, very important play. And
a play about ambition and creativity and the nature of talent and who has it and who doesn't.
And the look on his face when he saw the other one sitting there just playing the piano so beautifully and so creatively, and he's standing there looking at it. Oh my God, just cut off a body part. What great writing.
Yeah, no, in terms of like depicting creative envy.
Yeah,
you know, which I think
creative envy. Very well said.
So, speaking of creative envy, when it comes to actors in Sonoma County and those who are now just finding their chops or developing, you know, their interest in pursuing that, what kind of advice would you give to them besides not being creatively envious?
From the actor standpoint, I would say do as much work as you possibly can. The more times you get out there, the more you learn. I think any of us who have acted for a number of years learned that.
Yeah.
You can't be totally selective. Sometimes you have to do something and make it your own. If you're really serious about what you're doing, you'll get work.
Right.
Are you going to make a living with it? Well, probably not in Sonoma County.
Fair enough.
You would have to go to San Francisco or some of the larger cities that have regional theaters and get into the unions and all of that, or do as I did, get into those unions, but also in the film unions and television.
Seems to me Sonoma County is a great place to start and then a great place to return.
Yes. I quite agree.
Yeah, it's I mean, a great way to bookend a creative career, I think, ultimately.
I quite agree.
What's next for you? I know you're doing Lend Me a Tenor right now at the Raven.
Doing Lend Me a Tenor. It runs for another, this week and another week.
Yeah.
It's just such a funny play. I can barely sit there and watch it without roaring, and I know it.
You're right.
But what's planning?
Yeah.
Well, I am going to Cuba, and I'm going to touch base with some of the folks there that I met when I was there before, and see if they need an old-timey director. And I may do something there. I'll pursue much more in acting, because it's easier for me now that I'm not running a theater.
Right.
It's a whole lot easier for me to get away.
True.
And so,
well, I think stages will be much happier to have you back on them for sure. You're a great actor, man. I mean, you were a really great actor.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's well, like I say, I've been doing this for a long time, and I've always loved the theater. I've never done anything else.
Yeah.
Really.
When you find a part that you want to do, how do you invest yourself in it? I mean, because I've seen you, and I know Jim Depriest to a degree, and then Jim Depriest disappears, and there's this other guy.
Yeah, and you learn from standing in the wings and watch.
Yeah.
And it's a very valuable thing if you're lucky enough to do that. And I've been doing that a long time.
Well, we've been lucky to watch you on stage, all of Sonoma County.
You.
Jim, thanks so much for being here, and well, I hope we talk again very soon.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. I enjoyed it a lot. Thank you.